Hey guys, Jeremy here with Simple Life. A few years ago I made myself this forge and it got me into forging things. You know, I've tried doing a few knives on this, I've done quite a bit of decorative ironwork for around our house. But the truth of the matter is, I've always been a little disappointed with this forge. So I went out and I picked up a proper blacksmithing forge, and Princess Auto provided it for me. This is sponsored by Princess Auto, and I'm really excited that they're starting to carry a whole line of forging, blacksmithing tools, knife making tools, and materials. So I picked up their 3-burner forge. We're gonna unbox it, take a look at it. I'm not sure if I have to assemble it, and just kind of look at some of the features. And then I wanna do a performance test between this forge and that forge, in that I'm gonna take 2 pieces of steel the exact same size. We're gonna start the forges from cold, and we're just gonna time it to see which one heats up faster. Now I don't have a proper infrared gun that can go up to that high of temperature, so we're gonna have to play it by eye a little bit, kind of look at the colors and figure out, okay, this is like an orange yellow, so it's not super scientific, but it should give a good idea of whether that was a substantial performance upgrade or if this one's pretty much the same thing and that's just the nature of heating up steel. Let's bring this forge in here and we'll take a look at it. Mighty Forge, Canada's hottest forge. Oh, that was a power move. I am a sticker man. Okay, so we got a nice hose right here. Here's our burner assembly. Now, neat thing with this one, it actually has an automatic lighter. So it's like the barbecue piezo style lighter, so that is really cool. Let's set that aside for a moment. I'm just gonna wait a minute till the lawnmower goes away. So this is a 2-door forge, which I really like the idea of. If you were, say, just wanting to do some fabrication and you needed to bend a long piece of steel, this would be a slick way to do it. Nice KO wool there. This is a good move, so they load up the inside with the bubble wrap, obviously, so that these things stay put. I think these are the handles for the door. Ooh, this is something I like. I never realized this on the website, but they have an open end. And I was always wondering, I'm like, well, what do you do? I guess you just kind of leave this open, but this will obviously solve that problem. Anything else in there? No. Well, that is cool. I like that. Buddy driving his Harley by. I don't think I could have picked a louder day to film this. Oh well, this is real life, folks. That's what YouTube is all about, is it? Okay, so here's our regulator. Looks like this is our adapter for the hose. There's a little bit of assembly required. We've got in, out, and a gauge. Oh, they give you a little pressure gauge, which is handy. So you can actually adjust your pressure. Nice, all pre-taped. I don't have any tools out here right now, so I'm gonna have to go get them. But let's just take a look at the manual for a moment. Dun, 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 dun. Generally, I'm not a fan of directions or instructions, but when I'm dealing with something that has potential to go boom. Okay, well, I'm not gonna bore you with all the details. I'm gonna get this thing assembled, and then I'll be back, and we'll kind of take a look at this sucker. Slight change of plans. First of all, I came inside because that noise was driving me nuts, and I'm actually gonna film the assembly of this thing because I'm the kind of guy that would like to see that. Now, if that's not you, I'm gonna put on the lower portion of the screen where you can fast forward to, so you can skip all this stuff, but if this might be interesting, stick around. Now, the reason I wanted to film this is because I think it's kind of interesting how this goes. First of all, let's talk about some of the thickness here. This here is about that thick. We're going to measure it after, actually. So these burners just kind of pop in there. And then you kind of got to push down because the screws that are holding these onto this plate are just going to end up being kind of crushed into this insulation material. We will reinstall these sheet metal screws. There we go. Don't want to over tighten them, but now we're going to assemble our gauges and stuff. So we'll just scoot this out of the way. So what it looks like is we're going to have this. It's going to go onto this gauge from the in. on there like that. Let me grab some Nip-X. Okay, and then this is out, so this will connect to our hose. Excellent. That on there like that. I do not understand what this is for. No idea. Gauge will go on. I think I'll most likely want this facing up. This part still baffles me. Like, what is that for? Don't know. So we got this, we got our in, that, bada bing, we'll hook this up to here, hook the other end up to the forge, we're ready to fire it up. Oh, I forgot to put on the door handle, so we'll do that too. These handles are kind of interesting. Just a handle like this, and then they've got a piece of wood on here. So hopefully, I think the idea is that would stay nice and cool. So you can open up the doors that way. Overall build quality, it's looking pretty good. You know, you think about building something like this, it doesn't have to be heavy plate steel. And in particular, if this is something where you might have to move outside to set up, or, you know, shuttle around your garage if you're doing it at home or something like that. It's kind of nice that it's not super, super heavy. Off this side, they have the handle mounted to the side of the door, which seems logical. That way you're not having to put your hand in your flames coming out of here. What do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be like a big difference? I kind of have a pretty serious feeling it's going to be fantastic. That's what I'm kind of thinking. This thing. All right, so we have the forge assembled. The only thing we have to do is connect the hose. But one thing I'd like to do is measure the thickness of the insulation on this unit. So at the bottom, it is, I'm gonna say it's like 3 1/8. We'll say 3 inches, just for the sake of argument. And the top is 2 1/4. And on the sides, we have 2 1/4. So that's some pretty decent insulation. Let me give you the inside capacity. We have 5 1/2 inches in width, and we have 3 inches in height. And overall, the interior space is 22 inches. So this is like bigger than my heat treating oven. I mean, my heat treating oven's an 18. This is a 22. I'll give you the overall dimensions just for fun. If we include the handle, it's like 32 inches long. And then estimate the handle on that side about like that, say by like 2 feet. Check for gas leak. All right, folks, so I've got the new forge fully assembled, and we're actually gonna fire this one up first for this test. Now, what I typically do is I block off the back hole of this forge with a fire brick, so we'll put that on there. And I'm not trying to make this necessarily the most fair. This has an opening in the door that you can't do anything about, and so obviously I want to know what it's going to operate in that configuration. Generally, when I'm forging, I'll have these bricks something like this, and usually I leave a hole about like this in there. So I could try and close it all up. Every time I drop these, they break, so I actually need to go pick up some new ones. If I've got smaller parts or smaller pieces, I'll try and close this thing up, and then I can use my tongs, you know, open the doors, do that. But I've got some railroad spikes, 2 of them, and I actually weighed them, and they're within 3 grams of each other. So I think that's going to be a fairly accurate assessment. I'm going to place this one directly under the flame, and then also when we fire up this next one, I'll be putting it kind of right in the middle of the 3, and I'm going to leave this one going as hard as I can, as well as this one. Like full blast, see what we can do, and let's just see which one does better. So we'll put this fully inside, and then give this a light. And I am going to leave this one going full blast. making steaks. I'll bring you guys in a little closer here. About 5 minutes. Okay, so that was about 5 minutes, and I'd say that's pretty good for forging temperature. The head of the railroad spike is hotter. This point part could use a little more time, but that's 5 minutes. Okay, so we've got our 5-minute benchmark for the old forge. I've slapped this new one on my welding table, and this is the first fire up. I haven't even started this once. A little nervous, actually, because of this KO wool. KO wool can be pretty bad for you, so I'm actually gonna put a respirator on. That's one thing that might be like a downfall to this design is on the door having exposed KO wool. I might swap this out in the future for a fire brick or something like that, but that's something you're definitely gonna want. This stuff's very carcinogenic, and you don't want any of these fibers, especially the first fire up. So let's put the old respirator on. Hopefully the camera's facial recognition will keep an eye on me with this mask on. Also, before I get started, I guess the one thing I'm not entirely sure about is the different pressures on the pressure regulator. So I'm just gonna fire up one burner first, and then I'll try opening all of them, and I might come back here and play with the regulator. Little experimenting I'll have to do. I didn't have a regulator on my other one, which I don't think was very safe, but let's see what this thing does. Get the old timer ready. There she goes. All right, we're starting the timer now. We got some nice smoke with the paint burn off.
Oh man, that's getting hot. That is hot. I must say that's hot enough.
3 minutes and 44 seconds. .344. And I would venture to say that was hotter. I might be wrong. I might be entirely wrong, but 3 minutes and 44 seconds to heat up that thing. Oh, that's warm. That is impressive. Well, there we go, folks. I definitely think that this is going to be an improvement. 5 minutes on the old forge to get the point where we can smash it, and then 3 minutes, 44 seconds. And when I stopped the clock at 3 minutes and 44 seconds, I truly believe, well, I don't believe it was a brighter color. So it was hotter. And I know this isn't overly scientific, but it's very practical. You know, from a practical standpoint, we definitely got this spike hotter in less time than we did with this forge. So I would imagine, you know, in an hour of forging, I could probably save myself 10 minutes worth of waiting on heat. Now, I know there's a point if you're working on a whole bunch of things and you've got multiple pieces in the forge at a time, you kind of value those breaks. You're gonna get tired. I've done that before. But for me, my thing is like, you know, I'm forging a blade. I'm not doing more than one blade at a time because I'm not good enough. I really need to just focus on one thing. But I'll put it in there and I'm waiting and I want to get going, but I can't. So I'm really excited to have this. No, one thing I'm actually gonna plan on doing is I think I'm gonna build a little table that this will sit on. And then I'm just gonna take 2 pipes, like kind of big heavy duty pipes, weld them to the wall and have some shafts that will drop down into there, and those shafts will be welded to some square tubing that will come out to here, and at the end of that tubing I'll have another heavy duty pipe with a table and a piece of shafting in that, so essentially we'll have a little pivot point here, and I'll be able to swing this thing out in the middle here when I'm forging, and when it cools off and I'm done, I can just swing it against the wall for storage. I think that's going to be as slick as a whistle, and I can leave this thing essentially set up and ready to go. You know, with this old one, you know, I've got this thing coming off. I can either take this out or I have to kind of space it. It's just kind of clunky. It's not that nice. So I'm really excited to have this. Really excited for some upcoming projects we're going to be using with this, as well as the the anvil that I got from Princess Auto as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.